Okay, second portion. Another problem that is very similar to what will be on the exam would be powers of 10, right? So if we were to have 4 hundredths times 10 to the second, we know that 10 to the second does not mean 10 times 2, okay? We know that it means 10 times itself, the coefficient. So 10 times 10, which is the same as 100. So if I rewrite this, I can say 100. And then I have 4 hundredths times 100. The really cool thing about multiplying by hundreds or dividing by hundreds would be that there is a math trick. Because we're working in two-dimensional, we can simply move our decimal point. In this case, because I'm multiplying by 100, I've got 2 zeros, and I can think of multiplying as the number growing. Therefore, to grow this number, it needs to move in that direction, past the decimal point, to grow to a larger number. If the number is moving that way, it is becoming a smaller number. So in this case, because it's 2 digits, or the 100 has 2 zeros, the math trick is we can move the digits that way past the decimal point. Because I'm working in 2D, I'm actually going to take my decimal point and I'm going to hop it 1 place value, 2 place values. And so my decimal will end up over here. And when I rewrite my problem, I now have, I can put that 0 in front. It's just a placeholder at this point. But I now have 4 decimal points, which is the same as 4 whole number, or 4. Easy peasy, right? So then another thing comes up when we're dividing by tens, hundreds, thousands, and I can use associative properties. So in the case, I think I did this one in class today too. If I had 59 divided by 500, okay? One thing we spent a lot of time on when we were just multiplying or dividing by hundreds was associative property. And in this case, I see that I have 500, therefore I can take out 100, because I know when I'm dividing or multiplying by hundreds, it's as easy as moving the decimal point. Okay, so I'm going to take out that 100, and instead I'm just going to do 59 divided by 5. I'm going to have to come back to this 100, so stick around. We'll be back for you. Now I'm going to do 59 divided by 5. Now remember, when we're reading math equations, we read from left to right. Therefore, that instantly tells us which is the divisor and which is the dividend. Of course, the divisor is the number that is splitting the larger, not always larger number, but the dividend. So in this case, it says 59 divided by 5, or we can think about it in terms of dividing into 5 pieces. So I know that my 59 is what's going to be under the long division sign. It is being divided by 5. Okay, 5 goes into 5 one time. Bring down 0. Oop, I can bring down that 9, right? And then 5 goes into 9. Well, just one time again. So then I have my 5. I have 4 left over. Now here's the interesting thing with decimals. I don't do remainder, so it's not going to be remainder 4. It's not going to be a fraction. It's not going to be 4/5. So what I can do anytime I'm using decimals and anytime I'm using division with decimals is I can add a decimal, and then I can add as many zeros as I like after the decimal point. Okay? When I am dividing decimals, that decimal comes right up to the top. Now I have a 0 that I can bring down. Does 5 go into 40? Well, oh yes it does. 5 goes into 40 8 times. Okay, and then I have 40 down at the bottom. Bring down 0. I could bring down another 0, but would 5 go into 0? Would 5 go into 2 zeros? No, so my answer would continue with zeros. Now, usually I do like you to go to the 100th place. In this case, we don't need to. We're not done with our division, right? But I now have 11 and 8/10. However, I still need to divide by that 100. Well, what happens when I divide by 100? The number gets smaller. If I want to make this 11 and 8/10 smaller, it needs to move that way past the decimal point. Or since I'm working in two-dimensional, I'm going to say, since it's by 100, 2 zeros, that means it needs to move 2 space places. It's going to go 1 spot, 2 spots, and when I rewrite my answer, it's going to be decimal point right here, and my answer becomes 118 thousandths. Don't forget that thousandth on the end. So that is associative property. Definitely something you need to know for the exam. Now, you might say, hey, Miss Nogdave, can I do 59 divided by 500 and not do associative property? Why, sure, of course you can. How would you do that? Again, it's dealing with larger numbers. Things get more complicated, but you would put your decimal point there to begin. And remember, everything has to stay in alignment. But after that decimal point, you can add as many zeros as you might need to solve for this. Does 500 go into 59? Well, heck no. Will 500 go into 590? Yes, it will. One time. And then I can continue solving in that fashion. Will 500 go into 900? No, but I have another zero. I'm sorry, to 90. Will 500 go into 900? Yes, it will. One time. Do you see where this is going? Then I end up with 400 left. Will 500 go into 400? No, it will not. Will 500 go into 4,000? Well, yeah, I'm assuming it must be 8 times because that's what we did before. And then when I do 8 times 0, 8 times 0, and then 40. And that finishes out our fraction. So we end up with the same number. Can I do it just with long division? Sure you can. And then you don't have to worry about moving the decimal point. When we're doing mental math though, associative property sometimes makes things a little bit faster. I think those are the key things that you need to know. I hope this is helpful. Thanks.